Hey, all, Scott Horton here for Liberty.me, the great libertarian social network. They've got all the social media bells and whistles. Plus, you get your own publishing site, and there are classes, shows, books, and resources of all kinds. And I host 2 shows on Liberty.me. Eye on the Empire with Liberty.me's Chief Liberty Officer Jeffrey Tucker every other Tuesday, and The Future of Freedom with FFF founder and president Jacob Hornberger every Thursday night, both at 8 Eastern. When you sign up, add me as a friend on there. ScottHorton.Liberty.me. Be free. Liberty.me. All right, you guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Scott Horton. It's my show, The Scott Horton Show. And our next guest has got a very important article at the Carnegie Endowment website. Pretty unusual for this show, but okay. CarnegieEndowment.org. Saudi Arabia's Unholy War. It's Nasser, I'm sorry, sir, is it Arrabyee or Arrabyee? Welcome to the show. How are you?
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so listen, well, bottom line first, I guess, since our connection is perhaps tenuous here. You say that Saudi's war in Yemen hasn't worked in accomplishing its goals. Is that correct?
Yes, it didn't accomplish anything, and it would not accomplish even if it continued for years and years and years more.
Let me make a very poor comparison, sir, to Libya. In Libya, you had a very small force on the ground backed by air power, and they were eventually, it took them 9 or 10 months, but eventually they were able to go ahead and sack Tripoli and drive Gaddafi out of power. So, could you clarify, what is it about this situation that means that no matter how long it goes on, it could never work?
It is completely different here in Yemen, completely different. Saudi Arabia is supporting the terrorism now by its war. And unfortunately, United States is supporting ISIS by supporting Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is based on Wahhabism. Wahhabism is the heart and the mind and the sword of ISIS. And this is the problem. This is the essential difference between what's happening in Yemen and what's happening in any other place. So if we want to talk about supporting terrorism, yes, the war in Yemen is supporting terrorism, is supporting ISIS, is supporting Qaeda. The Qaeda is the big winner of this war.
Okay, let's go back to that in just one moment. But you say in your article, it's also helping the Houthis, who are the targets of the war.
Yes, Houthi is the Yemenis now. Houthi is the Yemeni. All the Yemenis are Houthis. It is not as Saudi Arabia is saying that Houthi is Shia people. No, Houthi now is the national movement of Yemen. The majority of Yemenis are Houthis. Houthi is the leader of the Yemenis now, because Houthi is now leading the Yemenis who are confronting the Saudi invaders. Saudis are invading Yemen, unfortunately with support from United States.
So just to make sure I understand, you're saying that the Houthi movement may have started among the Zaidi Shiites, but has now spread to be the most popular political movement in the country due to the fact that they're resisting the Saudis and the USA in this war.
Yes, it is a national movement now. It is in the south, in the north, everywhere. Houthi is just a symbol. It is not a matter of Houthi as a sectarian or Shiite. No. It is now Yemeni. It is Yemeni confronting the invaders, the Saudi invaders. This I know now. It is very difficult for the people outside Yemen to understand, because Saudi is lying by saying it is trying just to retain the legitimate government. This is the biggest lie that Saudi Arabia is using and misleading the world. But Yemenis now are trying to make the world understand that what Saudi is doing is something else. It is not a matter of restoring a legitimate government as it is saying. No.
So you're saying that not just they're failing, but they're not even really trying to reinstall Hadi now. They have a larger mission, which is, I think you're saying, backing Al-Qaeda and or the Islamic State.
Yes, indirectly, Qaeda is simply here in Yemen. It means Wahhabism. Wahhabis is the essential, is the backbone of Saudi regime. And this is the Qaeda and ISIS. So they are now, the people who are now, for example, who are supporting them, who are exiled there in Riyadh, are the leaders of the Wahhabism or the Wahhabi party, who are the, as I told you, the heart and the mind and the sword of ISIS. That is the enemy of the world, of the United States and everyone in the world.
Well, but are you conflating their sympathizers and their fellow religionists and the civilian population among them with the actual group that is Al-Qaeda or ISIS?
Yes. Who are supporting the people who are fighting with Saudi Arabia now in the ground in Yemen? We know them by names as either Qaeda or ISIS leaders. And I can give you a names. I can give you a names. For example, now the Zandani is a global terrorist. He is designated by US and by UN as global terrorist by UN and US. And also another one that is the leader of the Salafi party, who is in Riyadh now. He is designated by US. Treasury Department as global terrorists, and they are the leaders now, and their followers here are supporting Saudi Arabia in the ground. So this is Qaeda and ISIS.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, what gains have they made? The Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula used to, as recently as just a year or two ago, was a fairly small group of people, maybe a few hundred people, right?
Yes, let me tell you just an example. Saudi Arabia now is telling you, United States and the world, that they have the majority of Yemenis, and they have the majority of Yemen, 85%, they say 85% is under their control, and the majority of Yemenis are with them. If this is right, with all these weapons and these missiles and the F-16 and everything, they would have done it in weeks. They would have finished it in weeks, but they didn't do anything. Wow. So why they say that they have 85% or they are the majority of Yemenis? This is a lie, a big lie.
All right. Well, I'm going to stall for time here a little bit, Nasser, because we have a bit of a bad connection and it's almost time for the break. So, I hope during the break maybe we can, hang up and reestablish our connection, to continue the interview in the next segment. But everybody, I'm talking with,
okay, you're most welcome anytime.
Sure. Yeah, hang tight with me right there. Don't hang up yet, Nasser.
Okay,
I'll be right back with you there.
I'm waiting.
Okay, so we're talking with Nasser Arrabyee, or I'm sorry, is it Arrabyee or Arrabyee?
Yes, you're right. Arrabyee, yes.
Arrabyee, okay. Nasser Arrabyee, and he is a journalist from Yemen. I think you can tell from the connection. He's on the line from Sanaa, Yemen right now, and he is founder and president of the media service company Yemen Alan, that's Yemen Now, and he has this piece in the Carnegie Endowment at the Carnegie Endowment website, Saudi Arabia's Unholy War. We haven't really discussed it, but of course, the United States is participating in all of this and backing and arming and directing Saudi's Air Force in the war for the last year now. We're going to find out a little bit more about that, talk a little bit more with Nasser about the horrible war in Yemen right after this break. Hey, Scott Horton here. It's always safe to say that one should keep at least some of your savings in precious metals as a hedge against inflation. If this economy ever does heat back up and the banks start expanding credit, rising prices could make metals a very profitable bet. Since 1977, Roberts Brokerage Inc. has been helping people buy and sell gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, and they do it well. They're fast, reliable, and trusted for more than 35 years. And they take Bitcoin. Call Robertson at 1-800-874-9760 or stop by rrbi.co. Hey, all, Scott here. On average, how much do you think these interviews are worth to you? Of course, I've never charged for my archives in a dozen years of doing this, and I'm not about to start. But at patreon.com/Scott Horton Show, you can name your own price to help support and make sure there's still new interviews to give away. So what do you think? 2 bits? $1.50? There are usually about 80 interviews per month, I guess, so take that into account. You can also cap the amount you'd be willing to spend in case things get out of hand around here. That's patreon.com/Scott Horton Show. And thanks, y'all. All right, you guys, welcome back to the show. It's the Scott Horton Show. I'm talking with Nasser Arrabyee, a journalist from Yemen, about America and Saudi Arabia's unholy war there, as he calls it in this article at the Carnegie Endowment site, carnegieendowment.org. And I hope we have a little bit better connection this time, but we're going to trudge through because this is such an important subject. Even if we have a little bit diminished audio quality, I think it'll be okay. Can you please describe for us, Nasser, to your best ability, the devastation as you describe it in your article to the civilian infrastructure, the degree to which the civilian population has been affected by this war for the last year?
It's now 1 year since Saudi Arabia started its war. And I would assure you that Saudi Arabia, backed by U.S. administration, were committing war crimes every day, killing people asleep in their houses. Whole families, hundreds of whole families were killed asleep in their houses. Now I'm talking to you from my house, my office in the same place. It was damaged three times because they were using F-16 to bomb just a house of a military general, which everybody knows that it was empty, but they were just bombing the house and killing. Every time they killing many people. My house, as I told you, damaged 3 times, and it's a few meters from the house. So Saudi Arabia destroying and obliterating Yemen deliberately, because Saudi Arabia wants to keep Yemen as a back garden of slaves forever. This is the big problem now between us and Saudi Arabia. We don't want to keep as slaves, as a back garden. It's nothing more than this. And we don't want to have the United States to support and to keep supporting such war criminals. It's a big shame to United States to do all these things. It's a big shame to sacrifice the sublime values of democracy, human rights, and freedom for the oil money, Saudi oil money. We are shocked because we're looking at United States as a good example of democracy, human rights, and freedom. But now it's nothing. Because we are wondering why United States is supporting Saudi Arabia. We then discover that it's for the oil, for the money. This is the big problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually at a loss. The only answer I know to that is, obviously the Saudis have their reasons, but the only reason that I know that America is going along with this like this is just to make Saudi feel better about the Iran nuclear deal, which in fact enhanced their security and does not threaten it. And yet,
thank you very much for this is the other big lie. They say that Saudi Arabia is saying, "No, I'm fighting Iran because Iran is in Yemen." This is a big lie. Iran couldn't even help Yemen with water. Yemen is located 1 year now, and Iran couldn't help us with water, let alone weapons or anything else. No, Iran is not here, and Iran would not be here even after 100 years, even if it tries, because Saudi Arabia is richer and closer, and the influence of Saudi Arabia is 70% in the political and the economic and in everything. Nobody can be bigger than Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia wants more. The thing I told you, they want to keep Yemenis as slaves. But unfortunately, the price for this would be also turning Yemen to ISIS and Qaeda, which will be the enemy of everyone, United States and Saudi Arabia and everyone. This is the problem that the world should understand, and we have enough patience to make the world understand. And now the world started to understand what we say, and we will also keep struggling until the world understands that the United States is supporting the heart and the mind and the sword of ISIS by supporting the Saudi regime.
All right. Well, now let me ask you about the death toll. The United Nations, I believe, says that the number killed is approximately 5,000 or 6,000, which I hate to say it, don't get me wrong, but sounds surprisingly low to me after a year of this war. What do you say about that?
It is very funny. I know people by names. I know people by names who were killed. More than 6,000, just by names. The people, I know them by names. So now we are talking about 50,000 of civilians who were killed here in Yemen by Saudi Arabia. Not 60,000, but United Nations is, the bureaucracy and the report of United Nations, they say 6,000, okay, 6,000. They say now 30, they say 30 killed and injured, 30,000. But it is not 30,000, it's 50,000 killed. Civilians, I'm talking about civilians. Because Saudi Arabia can't fight. The army of Saudi Arabia can't fight at all. They escape in the borders. In the Yemeni army now is taking towns and villages and cities in the south of Saudi Arabia, and they can't fight at all. They just flee and escape every day. Unfortunately, they just keep waiting for the Apache and the F-16 to bomb, and they don't do anything. But they come to kill people here in Sanaa and every city while they are asleep. Unfortunately, this is it's the most dirty war in the world, and the people will understand and will know what we say. Now, if there are fair people who want to understand what is happening in Yemen, and unfortunately, with the support of United States and Obama administration.
Mm-hmm. And for the audience, it's not just our guest. All of the Western human rights organizations and NGOs say that the Yemen crisis is the worst humanitarian crisis on the face of the earth. We talked with the representative from Oxfam here on the show. And as you say in your article here, Nasser, 27 million people are in dire need of food, water, and medical assistance here. And now let me ask you this, because there were reports of some peace talks, and they had gone terribly in the past. But is there any hope for the new negotiations?
Yes, now, Saudi Arabia, we keep saying that we are fighting with Saudi Arabia, invaders. Saudi Arabia is invading us. Yemenis were saying that. Now, Saudi Arabia understood. Now, Saudi Arabia is negotiating directly with the Yemenis, with the Houthi and its allies. Houthi and his allies are the Yemenis, all Yemenis. Now they are talking to them. I think they will reach to. They will find a solution, because they must find a solution. Yes, but by recognizing the Yemenis, that Saudi Arabia is called Houthis or Shiite or something like that. No, Yemenis. I am secular. I am not Shiite. I am not Sunni. I am secular. Everybody in Yemen knows that Nasser Arrabyee is a secular. But I am Yemeni. I am supporting Houthi and everyone, because Saudi Arabia is invading us. Is invading us with a dirty war.
And so, well, and just for the record, I guess your critics might say, well, you must be a Houthi and a Zaidi Shia all along, and that's your problem.
I'm telling I'm a secular.
Yeah.
I'm a secular. I'm not Shiite. I'm not Sunni. I'm a secular. And this is something known all over Yemen. I'm publicly saying I'm secular.
Right. No, it's important. It's important to clarify.
I'm supporting Houthi with my mind and my heart.
I understand. It's important to clarify, just because you know how people make the assumption that if you denounce one faction, you must be supporting the so-called opposite in whichever case, and especially presumed silent motivations and that kind of thing. So it's very important to address there. Listen, I really appreciate your article. I really appreciate your time on the show. I hope you live through this thing. I mean that very seriously. I hope everything works out. We're doing our best to shame our government on this side of the equation, but it doesn't work very well. But we're thinking about you anyway.
You're most welcome anytime, and I would be highly grateful if you could send me a link, if there is a link in your website.
I absolutely will. It'll post probably tomorrow or the next day. Thanks very much again, Nasser.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. That is Nasser Arrabyee. Read his piece at the Carnegie Endowment. It's Saudi Arabia's Unholy War.
Hey, I'll check out the audiobook of Lew Rockwell's Fascism versus Capitalism, narrated by me, Scott Horton, at audible.com. It's a great collection of his essays and speeches on the important tradition of liberty. From medieval history to the Ron Paul Revolution, Rockwell blasts our statist enemies, profiles our greatest libertarian heroes, and prescribes the path forward in the battle against Leviathan. Fascism versus Capitalism by Lew Rockwell for audiobook. Find it at Audible, Amazon, iTunes, or just click in the right margin of my website at scotthorton.org. Hey, Scott Horton here for MPV Engineering. This isn't for all of you, but for high-end contractors specializing in industrial construction and end users who own and operate industrial equipment. MPV offers licensed professional consulting on chemical and mechanical engineering for your projects. Tanks, pressure vessels, piping, heat exchangers, HVAC equipment, chemical reactors for oil companies or manufacturing facilities, as well as project management support and troubleshooting for those implementing designs. MPV will get your industrial project up and running. Head over to mpvengineering.com. Hey, Scott Horton here to tell you about this great new ebook by longtime Future Freedom author Scott McPherson. Freedom and Security, the Second Amendment and the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. This is the definitive principled case in favor of gun rights and against gun control. America is exceptional. Here the people come first, and we refuse to allow the state a monopoly on firearms. Our liberty depends on it. Get Scott McPherson's Freedom and Security, the Second Amendment and the Right to Keep and Bear Arms on Kindle at Amazon.com today.